much for coming. I love you guys so much. I really do. There's not many other towns in Australia I drive 20 hours with a dog to come and play in a weekend. So I love you. Tommy the Toyota, he lives down on our farm. He's rusted and he's busted, but he's got a lot of charm. Yeah, Tommy the Land Cruiser is not a youth that's shy. He'll do almost anything and he'll never say die. Hey Alan, there's a reference to Mad Max in this song, did you know?
There you go.
So Alan called me the Mad Max of touring in the magazine this week. And I'll tell you what, Alan, I felt like Mad Max coming from South Australia last night. You were a prophet. Well, my dad said I should write this song if I wanted to go far. Cause Tommy the Toyota was no ordinary car. And I knew that he was serious when he had the chorus already made. My dad is the sort of man that calls a spade a spade. You know, he doesn't go over the top about things. He'll tell it to you straight. But he talks about that bomb of a youth like Alexander the Great. It's getting used to it now. Well, my dad said I've done that. There was a twinkle in his eye when he said that chorus bit. He said if I could write the rest, it would surely be a hit. He pointed out the Country Music Awards were sponsored by Toyota. And if I could finish Tommy's song, I could win a gold guitar. Like he had 10 years to figure out all the motivations, you know. Well, Dad thought it was important. All his kids should learn to drive. And because I was the eldest, I drove Tommy solo before I turned 5. Well, Dad told me to take Tommy through the scrub back to our home. I was to take my little brother while Dad took the tractor alone. I was 5. My brother hadn't learned to drive and I was feeling quite superior. A rev head and a show-off who hadn't learned how to change gears. You want to see how fast this thing can go? I yelled above the roar. Well, my brother looked impressed, so I put my foot down to the floor. But Dad had only put it in first gear and I blew the engine to bits. I don't know how he didn't kill me. It's just the kind of dad he is. Seriously, he didn't even get angry. He had to buy a whole new engine. It's alright, Jodes. It's alright. It's my fault. I didn't teach you to change into second. And that's my dad. Well, there's a lot I could tell you about Tommy. You seen my dad through thick and thin. Dad called him the Japanese cowboy and they called my dad Spin. Now my dad will never tell me the real reason for his name. He's got some story about a comic book, which I think is pretty lame. But one day when I was younger, I saw a bit of what my dad can do. Something tells me he was wilder than what he'll let on to you. Well, Dad was welding something. Mum was planting native trees with acres and acres of wheat as far as the eye could see. It would be a good harvest for everyone. It looked like gold in the desert heat. And it would only be a few days now before it was ready to reap. Well, I was staring out there when I smelled smoke from behind. A spark from Dad's welding gear had set the grass on fire. Well, my dad moved like lightning, you know he didn't even swear. He jumped straight into Tommy and shoved him into gear. Before my mum could tell me to go and get some buckets from the house, my dad was doing ringies that made Mad Max look like a mouse. His violent but accurate broadsides threw tons of dirt on that fire, and at the same time made a fire break with Tommy's mighty tires. It's a true story. In seconds, it was over, like nothing had occurred. The dust settled on the skid marks, and Tommy's engine purred. Tommy the Toyota, he lives down on our farm. He's rusted and he's busted, but he's got a lot of charm. Yeah, Tommy the Land Cruiser, it's not a youth that's shy. He'll do almost anything and he'll never say die.